Hey everybody, Cool Cucumber here. Welcome to yet another interview. Interviewee, would you care to introduce yourself to the good people?
Hi, good people. My name is E.H. Indigo or Hales, and I'm so excited to interview for this campaign.
All right, I have two questions for you before we actually start proper. And the first question is, why specifically did you choose to go with a Bajoran? Was it something about their struggle or their culture that drew you to them?
I really like that they are the religious culture and that they value education and um, their rituals as like central to their culture. And I think it's important to address like how people growing up in a culture they're losing can influence them and like their motives behind like what they choose to do when that happens.
All right, sounds great. One more question, and that is, we discussed the possibility of her being a member of the Klingon Empire. The only Bajorans we know from the show are in the Federation. Is there something specifically that drew you to the Klingons?
I've always been really interested in the Klingons as we don't really get to see their homeworld that much. We mostly see them as they're like expanding into the universe. So I thought it would be interesting if she took a kind of like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of outlook on them. And I think it suits her like development a lot.
Okay, sounds awesome. All right, now that we've taken care of those two questions, you ready for a little bit of RP?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm curious to meet Arya. So I'm going to bring you back a few years. I'm going to bring you to Bajor. I'm going to bring you back to being 17 years old. You're still living with your mother and father. Your father is a teacher and a botanist, correct?
Yes.
So he has several flasks and he's been making something. You haven't been able to fully extrapolate what it is, but you know that some of it is very poisonous.
Interesting.
How do you choose to confront him on this issue as he is in the main room doing this on this particular morning?
Um, Hello, Father. Is this a new experiment you're working on?
Yes, something like that, darling. I'm afraid that I must ask you to keep out of it. It's very important for our people.
In what way?
Well, I'm afraid I can't yet reveal that.
Well, um, I know we don't talk about it much, but um, you and Mom are very traditional, and what's going on right now must be hard for you.
Yes, such change is often difficult, but necessary. Please,
Is it
please, off to your room. He starts gesturing with his palms down, trying to shoo you out of the room. But at this time, you hear a knock on the door. Bang, bang, bang. And your father's head whips around. Oh no, please, please leave. They're here.
uh, is there a pantry-like door in this room?
It's your kitchen, you tell me.
Uh, she will quickly open the pantry door and slide inside with the light off and uh, closed enough so that she can still hear what's happening in the room.
So you hear the door open. Your father clearly did not open it. Whoever was knocking got impatient. What's taking so long, Rajin? I'm finishing the project right now, sir. Please remain calm. Please remain calm. Very well. Where is your darling wife? Is she not around anymore? That would be most unfortunate. You leave her out of this. We've done everything you've asked. We've been extremely complicit. So far. The complicit ones often get the sharp end of the spear. But for you, as long as you continue to serve the Alliance, I suppose we can let it pass for now. Where is the compound? I just need a few more minutes. It's not quite prepared. Ah! He notices that the pantry door is cracked open. Perhaps some spices would help would help things move along. The man moves over to the pantry, and you see scaly fingers on the inside of the door. How do you initially react to this?
She will reach over to the shelf and she will grab ground pepper and jalapeno juice and open them and get ready to toss them in the face of whoever's out in the door.
As the door opens, you see a Cardassian, but not a low-ranking Cardassian. This is a Gull. A Cardassian general. You can tell because of the golden serpent pin on his uniform. My, such interesting spices you have, Raijin. And he reaches down to grab your wrist.
She'll throw them in his face.
Ah! Bajoran wretch!
And then see if she can, like, dart around the door.
He's quite large, but I'm going to say that you're able to slip underneath his legs and head towards the outside door. That's the nearest way out.
She will go out the door to the outside, and then she will climb into a tree house that is built in a tree that like reaches over the house.
Okay.
And she'll like pull the trap door up and kind of like see what she can see from this point.
So you can see that there is a prisoner in the road in front of your house. This is a female Klingon who's spitting words in her own language at the two Cardassians that have her trapped. Wretched, cowardly Patah! Let me go this instant. Allow me to fight you. Why would we do that? Why would we do that? You wouldn't, because you have no honor. You have no dignity.
How far away from the front door of the house are they?
So, outside of your door, there's a path down to the road. They're just in that road. And she's in a contraption that has both of her arms pinned up over her head behind her back.
Okay.
Even with her strength, there's no way she could get out of this contraption.
All right. She will go through the window of the tree house. But before she does, she will look around to see what she has, and it's only a penknife and a pen that was left up here from the last time she was here. So she will climb out the window onto the roof of the house and begin making her way towards the road.
Down the path or across the roof?
Like across, well, okay, I imagine it like she can use the roof to get to the path.
She
So,
can.
like, she'll do that. She's going towards the prisoner.
When the prisoner sees you, you see a look that you've seen before in several of the Bajoran refugees' eyes. There's a look of desperation, of fear, and of panic on her face.
Arya will raise her hands and she will make a silencing gesture, like be quiet. And as she reaches the end of the roof, she will jump down onto the back of the person who is closest to her.
So I'm going to say that the roof doesn't quite get you to the road. It gets you to the end of the path.
Alright, so she will shimmy down the drain pipe.
Okay.
And her idea is to attack from behind this man.
So you shimmy down the drain pipe, you're behind the Cardassian, and you hear your front door slam open. It might have been broken.
Is this like a cart she's on?
It's vaguely
Like she's-
cart-shaped. There are wheels, but they're locked.
Can I, is there like a mechanism she can roll under and hang on to?
It's very low to the ground. You could potentially do it because you're only 17, but you would be scraping the ground if the cart moved.
Alright. And how tall is this mechanism with the lock?
The Klingon female is fairly tall, so I'd say that the device is probably about 5.5 feet tall. It's built more for length than height.
Okay. She will roll to the side and try to climb up the pole towards the top of the mechanism to see if she can try to pick the lock.
Okay. Interesting choice. You roll to the side. As you roll, you see the Cardassian gull is leaving your house, and he is mad. But he doesn't quite see you yet.
His eyes are burning. He would be mad. Pepper and jalapeno juice.
He is not happy with you. Or anything, really.
Mm-mm.
You also notice that he has a vial in his left hand. Presumably the compound your father was perfecting.
Can you tell me what his face looks like? Like if she... Well, actually that wouldn't work because she's trying to pick this lock, so she's not really paying attention.
Yeah, this is like casual perception.
What did his voice sound like? Like
The gull?
When he yelled at her.
Imposing. Angry more than frightened.
Like deep,
His voice sounded like this.
Okay, gotcha. Alright, so she's very focused on picking this lock.
Alright. I'm going to say you managed to, using the penknife, jimmy the lock mechanism just enough so that it pops open.
Okay. So, with her hands, the prisoner's hands free.
Oh, well, that only freed one of her hands.
Alright, well, she is trying to free she is trying to free her, so...
Yep. So, while the gull didn't necessarily see you right away, he does see that the prisoner's arm is free. And he pulls out his disruptor pistol, excuse me. And then he sees you. And he fires.
Oh, great! My
Luckily
favorite.
for you, it was set to torment. the Cardassians' version of stun.
Well,
As you fall off the contraption and kind of hit against it before slumping over on the ground, you hear your father scream for you from behind the gull. What are you doing? Stop! You have no power here. You will yield, Bajoran. And he backs off, much to your shock and probably horror. The gull approaches the cart. You will tell us where your fleet is nestled, Klingon scum. I don't have to tell you anything, Ptah!
oh, please tell me the Klingon stabs them in the face.
The Klingon is reaching for the Cardassian nearest's weapon. But now that they know that her arm is free, that Cardassian kind of backs off. Very well. We have ways of making you talk, Klingon scum. But perhaps a demonstration is in order. The gull gestures to the Cardassian that is nearest you, and he picks you up to your feet by the back of your shirt collar. He slowly marches your now regaining some form of rigidity body towards the gull. And the gull takes the vial, places a dropper in it, and pulls one drop into the plastic tube. He holds out his arm, and he drips the drop onto your forehead. And the rest of the world turns psychedelic. Colors are everywhere, but the colors represent your emotions. What colors are most prominent?
Red and black.
Ooh. Swirling red and black. As your body regains some form of mobility, you look back at your father, and his flesh sort of looks to you like it melts away. But his skeleton runs towards you and grabs you in his arms as you slump back to the ground again. Arya! I'm sorry. This was all my fault. Please forgive me. Please forgive you. We haven't even used the second drop yet. No! You can't! What does the second drop do, Ptah? The Klingon says. I'm glad that you asked, but I think we're going to wait for a few minutes while this little one comes down. You, Raijin, take her to the stoop. Let her watch what her father has created. Very well. Just please, leave her out of this. Even through the psychedelic effects of the drug, you can feel your father's arms shaking as he picks you up and carries you back to the stoop. The first euphoria begins to wear off. The colors sort of dissipate, but you can hear sounds in your head, ringing, loud, noisy sounds, for lack of a better word. And you feel that these sounds are related to you on a personal level. What do you hear?
I hear mixtures of like people being taken from their homes and like screaming for their children and like shouted arguments between my parents. I can't like really remember what the words are, but it's like full of anger and fear.
All right. When the sounds stop, you can see your father is looking into your eyes. My Arya, please forgive me. We must abide by this for now. And he turns your shoulders so that you're facing the Cardassians and the captive Klingon. The Cardassian puts the stopper in the vial and pulls out 2 drops. The first drop, the Klingon begins to spasm, similarly to how you must imagine you were spasming. The second drop, however, forces the Klingon's skin to begin to peel away from where it touched down on its forehead. And within just a few moments, it's a bleeding, crumpled mess of bones. And your father starts to cry, holding tightly onto you. How, if any, in any way, do you react to this?
I push him off, and I turn into the house, and I grab a sack and I fill it with what I think I need from my room, and whatever's left on the table, I grab and close it, and I start running away.
Okay. Your father holds out his hand desperately as if he wants you to not leave, but then he clenches his fist and returns his arm to his side and allows you to run. The Cardassians, one of them jokingly fires their disruptor near where you're running from, but intentionally misses. Instead, he blasts a tree to bits. And Thank you very much for participating in this interview. Do you have anything you want to say to the other interviewees before we head out?
I would like to say I do hope we meet in better circumstances. And should you think twice, that's all.
Okay. Thank you very much. Until next time, stay cool.